This is the Morning Shower.
Brought to you by Late Night Hump.
Let the news wash over you.
With Jordan Freed,
Brendan O'Brien,
and Reena Ezra. These are your ShowerHead Lines.
The Walgreens pharmacy chain has reached a $683 million settlement with the state of Florida in a lawsuit accusing the company of improperly dispensing millions of painkillers that contributed to the opioid crisis. What? You mean these weren't over the counter?
Brazilian President Jair Bolsonaro has lashed out at Leonardo DiCaprio, saying it would be better for the actor to keep his mouth shut after he spoke about the environmental importance of the Amazon. Bolsonaro made his comments on Tuesday to a group of supporters who were gathered in front of Alvorada Palace, the official presidential residence. What President Bolsonaro doesn't realize is the only way to get an Academy Award winner to stop talking is to tell them to keep my country's name out your fucking mouth.
The U.S. Food and Drug Administration issued its first warning to makers of products containing Delta-8 THC. Delta-8 THC is a compound closely related to Delta-9 THC, the main psychoactive ingredient that gives marijuana users a high. It can be derived from a similar part of the marijuana plant as CBD, a non-psychoactive compound, and that is part of the reason why it falls into a legal gray area. You know what does help sleep and anxiety? Normal weed.
A 22-year-old man calling himself the pro-life Spider-Man scaled a 61-floor Salesforce Tower in San Francisco, the second tallest building in California, to raise awareness for his cause as an abortion rights opponent. The San Francisco Police Department said officials arrested Mason Discoms, an anti-abortion activist and college student from Las Vegas, early Tuesday on charge of trespassing and resisting arrest after his climb up the side of the skyscraper. Normally, I'm a pretty big fan of Spider-Man, but in this case, I'm hoping the Green Goblin shoves a pumpkin bomb up this spider douche's ass.
At the National Zoo in Washington, D.C., a wild fox from neighboring Rock Creek Park chewed a hole in metal mesh fencing and wreaked havoc, killing 25 flamingos and injuring 3 others. I'd like to think the flamingos are in a better place, where they don't get gawked at by politicians and tourists from a cage.
An old Russian motor that's been aimlessly floating through space for more than a decade has finally met its demise in a sudden explosion, producing at least 16 shards of orbital debris that now threaten satellites and other objects. Whether it's on Earth or in outer space, Russia just can't seem to help making other people's lives more difficult.
An opposition group that is actively campaigning against Representative Madison Cawthorn has released a video clip appearing to show the North Carolina Republican naked in bed and violently thrusting his friend. Cawthorn has never been seen without a gun, so I guess if he was naked, he'd think his penis was a weapon.
Scientists use machine learning to discover what they say could be a new way to speed up the process of breaking down plastic significantly. A research team from the University of Texas at Austin modified an enzyme to break down the individual components of polyethylene terephthalate, a commonly used plastic that makes up a staggering 12% of global waste. Noted plastic supporters Barbie and Ken could not be reached for comment about the plastics.
Heavy fighting raged Thursday at the shattered steel plant in Mariupol as Russian forces attempted to finish off the city's last-ditch defenders and complete the capture of the strategically vital port. Very fitting that the Russian army can't even steal the steel plant.
3 metal detectors have discovered more than 150 ancient Roman coins, which are expected to fetch tens of thousands at auction. The trio, who have been spending over 90 years detecting experience between them, made the unlikely discovery during a camping weekend together in Wiltshire, England. This news story also serves as a PSA that you should hang out with your friends on the weekend, because if you do, you'll end up with a life full of riches in more ways than one.
A NASA climate research scientist who has spent much of her career explaining how global food production must adapt to a changing climate was awarded the World Food Prize on Thursday. Her prize is we are sending her to Mars to plant plants until she dies.
Thank you for showering with us.
Lather, rinse, repeat every day before noon.
Scrub-a-dub-dub at latenighthump.com.